Laker Nation, what's going on? Listen, I've been trying to be optimistic with this season, but sheesh. Here we are, right at the trade deadline. And I know I missed a lot of podcasts. I've been upgrading my system. Something happened to my camera, yada, yada, yada. I'm back. Okay? I'm not leaving again. But this season has been one hell of a ride. And not in a good way. I'm going to take you back. I missed a few games. Right now, we just lost to the Portland Trail Blazers, 107-105. Without Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum just got traded. Just a whole bunch of young players at Nurk. This was after a back-to-back when we lost to the Bucks. The Bucks blew us out. At one point, they were up by 30. We battled back. The game ended 131-116. I didn't cover the Knicks game that we won in overtime, which we should have won. I think we played good enough to win in regulation. But we won that one 122-115. The game before that, we lost by 1 point to the Clippers. In a game we also should have won. The game was 111-110. We beat the Portland Trail Blazers 99-94. Didn't cover that game. The Atlanta Hawks we lost to 129-121. God, I missed a lot of games. Charlotte Hornets we lost to 117-114. The 76ers we lost to 105-87. And I covered the Nets game. So we lost 1, 2, 3, 1-1, 4, 5, 6. Lost 6 of our last 8 games. We only won 2, which was to the Knicks, and the first time we played technically not the first time we played the Trailblazers, but when we played the Trailblazers the first time in February. And so, looking at all these games, it's hard to kind of wrap your head around what's going on. On one hand, we have all of these veteran players. We have arguably the best player in the world, best player that's ever did it, with a top 5 guy in Anthony Davis and a top 75 guy in Russell Westbrook. We got Dwight Howard, which is technically a top 75 guy. Carmelo Anthony, which is definitely a top 50 guy. And so what's hard to imagine is that in a league full of young talent mixed with a little bit of old talent, our team is centered around a whole bunch of veteran guys. And I stall a little bit in saying that because I want to say old guys. And that's exactly what we see every night on the court. A bunch of old guys in LeBron trying to get it done. And although Anthony Davis is somewhat young, yes, he looks like an old guy. He plays like an old guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't run fast. He's, takes a lot of plays off. Always getting injured, always getting hurt. And so this is what we got to deal with. Now, amongst these last 8 games, Anthony Davis came back. And Anthony Davis started out looking incredible. Let's go back. Against the Philadelphia 76ers. Anthony Davis came back looking hungry, looking energized. He played well against the best man and the best big man in the league in Joel Embiid. And he didn't back down. He didn't show any flaws. He looked incredible this game. And so I want to break down everything that's been going on in the last 8 games with the trade deadline, with All-Star coming up in the second half of what is quote-unquote the second half of the season. And that's all coming up next on the Film Room Podcast. So Laker Nation, Anthony Davis came back looking incredible. Technically his first real game back was versus the 76ers. And in 33 minutes, he scored 31 points. He had 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. This was the AD of old. The AD we've been missing. The AD we've been searching and looking for a very long time. He had disappeared. Where'd he go? I don't know. But he was back in this game. And it gave me hope. Although we got blown out. 76ers, 105-87, was not really a good look. But Anthony Davis came back and looked incredible. The only thing with this is that as soon as AD comes back, LeBron James has to sit down. And that's really the whole sole reason why I think we lost this game. Russell Westbrook looked okay in this game. He played 34 minutes, scored 20 points. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. In this game, let's see how many turns. He had 6 turnovers. Malik Monk looked okay. He scored 11 points, and everybody else kind of flatlined. The next game was a back-to-back against the Charlotte Hornets, which we should have won. Russell Westbrook had himself a game. Now, Russell Westbrook played as the only main superstar, other than Carmelo Anthony, but that started this game. Westbrook had himself a game. He played 37 minutes, scored 35 points. He had 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 12 for 23 from the field, that's 52.2%. And he was 3 for 7 from the three-point line. That's 42.9%. And he had 1 turnover. That whole entire game, 1 turnover. Stanley Johnson played, he started. Avery Bradley played, he started. DeAndre Jordan started. DeAndre Jordan started, and Wayne Ellington started, Carmelo Anthony had himself a game as well. Carmelo Anthony played 34 minutes, scored 19 points. Austin Reeves played 27 minutes, scored 16 points. And Monk had to sit down that game too. And had one or the other played, I don't care. If it was Malik Monk, LeBron James, or Anthony Davis, just one of those 3 play in this game, we probably would have won. But the thing about this game is, I don't know if Russell Westbrook would have played as well as he did if LeBron James or Anthony Davis was playing. And seeing this is the dilemma. Never had a problem with Russell Westbrook. I love how he plays when he plays like this, how he played in the Charlotte Hornets game. With energy and pace and effort and nonstop, just his battery doesn't shut off. But when AD and LeBron in, he doesn't play like that. He plays all over the place, unsure of himself. You can see it. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his gameplay. Now, we had a few nights off. We had how many nights off? We had 1 night off, and then we got right back to it in Atlanta. And Atlanta beat us 129-121. I'm going to go to the box score. Anthony Davis came back and played this game. He played 38 minutes, scored 27 points. This was the Anthony Davis of old. The Anthony Davis we've been looking for, we've been searching for. Where did he go? He's not there, but he's back. And he looked back. This is the second game. He had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He was 10 for 20 from the field. That's 50%. And he was 1 for 3 from 3. That's 33.3%. Malik Monk had himself a game. He played 37 minutes, scored 33 points. Of course, I'm giving my flowers to Malik Monk. He had 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 12 for 19 from the field to 63.2%, and he was 8 for 14 from 3. That's 57.1%. Westbrook played 35 minutes, scored 20 points. He had 7 rebounds and 12 assists. He was 8 for 15. And he had 4 turnovers. Stanley Johnson played. He played okay. Avery Bradley, I don't know where did he go. Carmelo Anthony played. He had 11 in 20 minutes. I'm convinced this are lineups, our rotations. See, something isn't clicking. And if all these players play good, some nights, of course, they're going to be off. But if all these players play good, you're talking about Malik Monk, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Austin Reeves, Carmelo Anthony, Stanley Johnson, Avery Bradley, THT, Dwight. I mean, the list goes on and on of players that can get buckets, that can get 30 on any given night. So why aren't we getting 30 on any given night? Now, I know what they say. They say Vogel can't go out there and play the game for them. Vogel can't teach them energy and effort. Vogel can't give them that, and I get it. But Vogel can also see which players don't have the energy and take their ass out. Vogel can also see which players aren't giving him effort and take their ass out. Vogel can also see when a player has it going and he's hot to not take him out based on how many minutes they played. Oh, it's time for him to come out. Let me bring him out. And he just started getting hot. We played Portland after the Hawks game, and we won this one at home, 99-94. And in this game, we played against Nurkic, Covington, Simmons, CJ McCollum, and Powell. And Anthony Davis was looking like the Anthony Davis of old. The Anthony Davis we've been looking for, we've been searching for, we've been wondering where'd he go. I don't know. But he's back. And he looked back in this game as well. He played 36 minutes, scored 30 points. He had 15 rebounds, for crying out loud. 15. He had 2 assists, 3 blocks. He was 10 for 18 from the field. Are you kidding me? 55.6%. And he didn't shoot a 3, thank God. He had 3 turnovers. Russell Westbrook played 33 minutes, only scored 9 points. Now, what do you see wrong about this picture? Do you think that this is Russell Westbrook just not playing hard? Do you think that this is Russell Westbrook just not understanding which way to go? See, sometimes when you got a dog on your team, you got to let that dog off the leash. When it was just Westbrook in the Charlotte Hornets game, he went off. He looked like the Russell Westbrook that everybody has known and loved him for because he was off the leash. He didn't have to worry about getting it to LeBron. He didn't have to worry about getting it to Anthony Davis. You understand what I'm saying? Do you see where this is going? So yes, he gets a lot of turnovers, but I looked at this man's stats, and ladies and gentlemen, Russell Westbrook has been balling. But when we look at him on the court every night, night in, night out, it doesn't look like it. He's getting 20, 22 points almost every night, and it's just like, but the turnovers, but the dumb shots you throw up. See, that's where it comes from. See, these stats don't mean nothing if you're throwing up 12 shots and you're only making 3. He had 9 points this game. And I'm not just talking about this game. Let's double that. Let's say he was 6 for 24, 7 for 24. And he was 1 for 4 from 3. But see, and that's where it loses everybody. Because there's certain players that shoot up shots that you like, oh my God, it almost went in. But when Russell Westbrook shoots these shots, it's like, dog, what were you thinking? There was no way that ball was going to go in. And so, and this is the dilemma. This is the reason why he has so much hate circling his name right now and disgust from his gameplay, not Russell Westbrook, the person, the player. So we won this game. Then we had a back-to-back. I thought we were headed in the right direction. And then we played the Clippers. And we looked like we was going to pull this one out. And then late, it didn't look so good. It didn't look so good. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Morris is a great basketball player. But if you tell me he was going to get 29 on the Lakers, I would say, nah, bro. Ain't no way he getting 29. Marcus Morris, Sr., went for 29 in 36 minutes. He had 29 points. Marcus Morris, ladies and gentlemen. Serge Ibaka played 33 minutes, had 20 points. Reggie Jackson In 33 minutes, scored 25 points. So this is what we're dealing with. It seems like every single game, there's a player that hasn't scored over 10 or 12 points in a very long time somehow gets 29 to 30 or 40 points on us. It's ridiculous. So what is that? Anthony Davis played this game. He played 37 minutes, scored 30 points. He had 17 rebounds. 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was 12 for 24 from the field. That's 50%, and he was 0 for 2 from 3. Crazy Legs is back. Crazy Legs himself is back. I said, this is the AD that we've been missing. Where did he go? Why did he disappear? And I watched the LeBron James postgame, and they asked him about AD. And I think LeBron James hit it right on the head. He said, this is the AD that we've been missing, but he missed basketball. All those games he was sitting out, wanted to help his team, wanted to be playing basketball. He just had to sit sideline. And he came back with this hunger. You know what I mean? But Russell Westbrook played 35 minutes, only scored 17 points. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists. So where did he go? He was 7 for 18 from the field. 7 for 18. That means 11 shots he thought were good, were no good. And see, the thing is, his 11 shots that were no good, we could tell from the TV that they were no good. So why did he, in his mind, think those shots he should shoot up and that he would make? This is the reason why the hate is there. This is the reason why he's starting to get booed on his home court. Malik Monk also played great. He played 33 minutes, scored 21 points. And then everybody else was just, yeah. And we lost this game, 111-110. All right, so the next game. This is the game where we played the Knicks at home. And the Knicks came right out the gate and punched us in the mouth. And the Knicks were rocking and rolling. It looked like another loss. It looked like you might as well go ahead and throw the season away. But the Lakers fought back. We got back in the game. I'm going to go to the box score. LeBron James played this game. In 39 minutes, he scored 29 points. In 39 minutes, he got 13 rebounds. And in 39 minutes, the man got 10 assists. He had 1 steal. He was 13 for 24 from the field. That's 54.2%, and he was 2 for 7 from 3. That's 28.6%. He was terrible from 3. But he was the reason why we won that game. Listen, Anthony Davis played 41 minutes, scored 28 points. Anthony Davis should have had 50 points. You see, so Anthony Davis is capable. I don't know what happened, though. 28 points is nothing for AD. He's 6'11". You know what I mean? 6'11". Who was guarding him? M. Robinson. I don't even know who do this. He should have gone for 50. But see, what happens is when you miss something and you come back and you start to get it. Let's put it in regards to food. You haven't eaten pizza in about a month. And so when I go back and I smell that pizza, oh, I want it. I eat 4 or 5 slices. And then in 3 nights later, somebody say, hey, you want pizza? And they order pizza and we get pizza. And I want maybe 2 slices because I just had it. The craving is gone. The hunger for pizza is gone. The urge to just devour it. And see, and that's what we're looking at with AD. And it's starting to slowly go off that cliff right now. And I'm getting there. So AD in this game played 41 minutes, scored 28 points. He should have had 50. Malik Monk had an incredible game. He played 39 minutes and also scored 29 points, just like LeBron James. See, when your number is called, you answer. And when you answer it consistently, this is what gains you those minutes, those primetime minutes. In this game, Russell Westbrook played 29 minutes and only scored 5 points. He had 4 rebounds and only 6 assists. Our starting point guard, our starting superstar point guard, ladies and gentlemen, Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple-Double. He's got an MVP. Played 29 minutes and only scored 5 points. And I'm fine with the 5 points if you giving me assists. If everybody else on the team is getting buckets based on you, you can be 5 for 16. Meaning 5 points and have 16 assists. Because those 16 assists you could have taken yourself, but you decided to make the smarter play. You assisted the ball and we got the bucket. That's not the case here. He had 6 assists. He had 4 rebounds. So what was he doing on the floor? He was 1 for 10 from the field this game. That's 10%. He was 0 for 3 from 3. He was 0 for everything. So what are we doing here? It's so sad to see him play like this. And as fans, we can only speculate what's going on. How can almost a week ago you scored 35 points in almost probably the best game you will have this season against the Charlotte Hornets, and you come out against the Knicks on your home court, play 29 minutes and only score 5 points and only have 6 assists? It's time for a trade. It's just not working. Because if we can't get consistency out of you, then it's either trade you or bench you. And I'm not talking about just benching you in the clutch moments in the third and the fourth quarter when we really need a guy to come off and give us that spark. No, you need to be benched, because had this been anybody else, and had anybody, like, listen, if he didn't have as many fans and the name and everything that he has, he would have been benched a long time ago when he was making 11 turnovers in a game. On the first and second possession, as soon as we start the game, he would get turnovers. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, don't get it confused. Vogel has his hands tied with this guy. He has him tied. Vogel wants to bench Russell Westbrook so bad. Dog, you need to come off the bench. I would start Carmelo Anthony over Russell Westbrook, because Carmelo Anthony, every time he touches the floor, he is producing with energy and with effort. So why does Carmelo Anthony not get the same benefit that Russell Westbrook does? That's all I'm saying. Dog, your name doesn't mean anything if you're not producing. See, what you did 2 to 5 to 7 years ago don't matter today. Because that was back then. What you did back then, those points, we can't eat off that today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's either trade this guy or let him know, dog, you coming off the bench. Because Malik Monk runs point guard better than Russell Westbrook does sometimes. I mean, sure, he gets sloppy with a turnover or two. But I mean, multiple games with 7, multiple games with 5, multiple games with 11 turnovers. Are you serious? And so that's the first thing that needs to change. Moving on. Let's go to the game we played on the 8th. We had 2 nights off, and we came back and we played the Bucks. And the Bucks beat the brakes off our ass. I mean, they beat the brakes off our ass. Giannis had 44 and 14 rebounds and 8 assists. Giannis. 14 rebounds, 8 assists, 44 points. You see what I'm talking about? This is AD on any given night. But see, the difference is Giannis still has the hunger. See, when he eats, it goes right through him. Metabolism is high. Because he will still keep eating you. Because that's what beasts do. Beasts, you can feed, you can feed, you can feed, you can feed. Never satisfies him. That's Giannis. AD, on the other hand, you feed him, beast gets full. Is that a beast? So what is up? Is it LA? Is it the life that you're living now? You got commercials. You got all this stuff going on. Now, I understand going on vacation. The first day back, you're kind of like, I ain't come here to work today. I'm going to sit on this clock for 8 to 10 hours and not do a damn thing, and y'all ain't going to tell me nothing about it. Because I'm fresh back from vacation. And if a player don't want to work, they ain't going to work. Mr. AD, is that you, bro? Because if it's not you, then that's what you're showing everybody out. Because these 23, 28, 24 points don't mean nothing, bro. Malik Monk can get that in his sleep. You're 6'11", with the ability and the talent and the footwork to do so many things. Have you been working on your game? And see, and that's the thing. People say they working on their game. And yeah, we see you working on your game. But that's your game. You know what I mean? So, meaning, you can work on your game all you want to, the game that you want to play, because you're comfortable in that game. When was the last time you worked on your game where you was uncomfortable? When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you worked on a game, a part of your game that is non-existent? When was the last time you did that? See, what happens is people get used to this, right? You got the name, you got the fame, you got the money, and they don't care about the legacy. See, but what happens is when you start to play like you care, like Giannis, see, his name is going to go on for a long time, as long as he doesn't fall off, as long as he keeps that hunger. Because these are the people that the NBA will be talking about for the next 75 years. But AD, if you don't change, you're not going to have that luxury. That's where AD is headed. In this game, AD played 37 minutes, scored 22 points. He had 9 rebounds and 4 assists. He was 8 for 10 from the field. He was 80%. And he didn't shoot a 3. But see, on a night when you're 8 for 10, why aren't you demanding the ball? Why aren't you being a beast? Why aren't you being the dog that we know that you are? Stop being so nonchalant and a pushover. Go out there, demand the ball. This is your team. This is your team. You have to do that. Malik Monk played 32 minutes, scored 20 points. Russell Westbrook, again, played 26 minutes, scored 10 points. He had 10 rebounds and 5 assists. He was 3 for 11 from the field. That's 27.3%. He was terrible. Any other player, he's getting benched. Stanley Johnson played 25 minutes, scored 16 points. He was incredible. Incredible, this kid. Austin Reeves played 20 minutes, scored 10 points. He was good. Avery Bradley was just doing cardio. And we had a back-to-back. And we were playing the Trailblazers, and I knew from the start of the game how this was going to go. Now, this was last night's game, and I said to myself, listen, this is the time that, we take this team for granted. They have no superstars. Their best player is Nurkic, and their second best player is Anthony Simmons. Simmons. Bro, who that? So we played around with him all night. LeBron James, real careless with the ball. LeBron James in this game had 6 turnovers. Uncharacteristic turnovers. I mean, he's just dribbling into 3 defenders and loses the ball. This is the wackiest season I have seen. And I've been following LeBron James since Miami Heat. And I've never seen this. Every once in a while, maybe once or twice in a game, but this game, it was all game. Playing careless, wasn't even in, he still put up numbers, don't get me wrong, he's still LeBron James. He played 36 minutes, scored 30 points, he had 7 rebounds and 7 assists, he had 3 steals. He was 13 for 22 from the field, it's almost 60%. He was 59.1%, and he was 3 for 7 from 3, that's 42.9%. But Anthony Davis played 40 minutes and only scored 17 points. In a game where he could have went off. In a game where if Vogel had a better game plan, then we would have won this ball game by a very wide margin. See, Franklin Vogel is also the reason why this season has been Listen. I've got DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard on the bench. And I've got Nurkic. Anthony Davis doesn't like playing the 5 and possibly can do way better things on their 4. Who is their 4? Justice Winslow. Can you imagine if Anthony Davis was guarded by Justice Winslow the entire game? Or if he guarded Winslow and we had DeAndre Jordan guarding Nurkic or Dwight Howard guarding Nurkic? It's just something that is so evident. It's so right there. It's so crystal clear. I just don't understand it. So you let this team with no superstar, and they just traded away their best players, defeat you 107 to 105. Y'all couldn't close that game out, Vogel? It's something wrong, man. It's something wrong. And it starts with Vogel. And then second, we got to look at Russell Westbrook. Because I could tell Anthony Davis was struggling from the start with Nurkic. See, Nurkic is a big body. And although AD is way up there, 6'11", Nurkic is, just built different. And so we needed a DeAndre Jordan on this man to stop him a little bit. See, you got Anthony Davis putting forth all his defensive effort on Nurkic to stop Nurkic. You see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm headed? And so he has an off night, 17 points. He wasn't aggressive, 17 points. It was also on a back-to-back, and he just is getting back, kind of, what is he back, 2 weeks at this point? Something like that. And so you're putting a lot on these guys, instead of using your own noggin and seeing what it is for what it is. And that goes back to what I seen from an interview from Gilbert Arenas. I'm going to play this interview.
Your lineups are horrible. You do not know what matches. It's like getting dressed in the dark. And then there was one thing that I just despised that he did, and this goes for any coach in sports. Game 6, he tells Dwight Howard that he will not be playing this game. As a player, just basketball, just sports knowledge, that was the dumbest thing you can possibly do. How do you tell a player that he's not going to play? How do you know that? The game dictates who you're going to play. See, you already prejudging what you're going to do. That's the problem there. You're not watching the actual game in real time. You're playing the game on what you think is going to happen. It's chess, right? You can have your moves, but if he's not moving how you figured it out, you have to adjust to that. So the fact that you're telling a player that he's not going to play and the game doesn't dictate that yet, there's a problem with your coaching staff. I mean, your coaching philosophy in the first place. That player won't go through his routine. He's not going to stretch properly. He's not going to warm up properly. Mentally, he's going to be out of it. And then if something happened in a game and you needed him, he mentally wasn't going to be there anyway. So it's just one of those things where as a coach, you should never, because you do not actually know what you're going to need until that game starts and that game is being played. So right there just lets me know that he's not in tune with his squad. He's not in tune with what's going on.
You know what I mean? He decided a long time ago that these guys aren't playing. You're not playing tonight. You can chill. And so mentally, these guys are checked out. The same thing. You start seeing Nurkic taking advantage of AD or the switch or whatever the case. You bring in your big man and do double big man. So when they switch, they can't switch. We gonna let y'all nobodies beat us. The young guys. We're going to let whoever Elbley is, Simmons, Winslow, and Ben McLemore. You mean to tell me you can't beat this team? I mean, come on, Laker Nation. This is pathetic. It's much more than energy and effort. It's much more than that. This is Vogel. Vogel has been lost this team. He's never had this team. He's never had them. He don't know what to do with all that. An ego like Carmelo Anthony, an ego like LeBron James, an ego like AD, Russell Westbrook. I mean, it goes on and on. And not saying that they have big egos. I'm just saying. These are superstars in their own lane for a very long time, at different franchises for a very long time. Now they're all with you, bro. What you gonna do? And we see what you've been doing. You've been picking crazy lineups. You've been telling players that they not gonna play. And then you get killed. And then you want to put them in at the last minute when the game is already lost. You already gave this team so much momentum. It's already over. This is our problem, ladies and gentlemen. And it started long ago. And it don't take much. See, it don't take much for a team to see. All these players watch basketball. They all see how the Lakers is playing, and they all ain't fear and ain't scared of nobody on that team, except for LeBron James. And even with LeBron James, they probably like, hey, man, this dude old. He ain't stopping us. You see what I'm saying? See, it starts with mentality. Mentally. I used to play basketball a very long time ago, right? And so I'm a small dude. I walk into the gymnasium, and if I see a team of a lot of tall dudes, they scoring, mentally, you already defeat yourself. If you know what this team is capable of before you even step on the floor with them, mentally, you are already defeated, and that's half the battle. This is G.I. Joe. That's half the battle. Vogel started this a long time ago. This ain't have nothing to do about COVID protocols, players being in and out of the lineup. This is coaching. Coaching. Light a fire under that. What are you doing? I get it. You got so many voices in the gym now, in the locker room, that you can't even speak. Because they're going to listen to the veteran players over you. Tell me when I'm wrong. Have we not been seeing that all season? Do y'all think Frank Vogel is coaching this team? But ladies and gentlemen, this is the trade deadline and we did absolutely nothing. Ron Pelinka, Laker front office, Frank Vogel, his coaching team, looked down the line at that bench and said, yep, I think we're okay. Are you serious? They looked down the bench and said, no, we gonna run with this. We're good here. We're good. You good? We're good. Oh my gosh. LeBron James is the king at saying something without saying something. So when he says, if there's a chance to get better, you get better. I just don't know what to say anymore. A lot of teams made moves. A lot of teams made some good moves. And we stayed the same. But it's okay. Because look at our next lineup. We got the Warriors. We got the Jazz. I think that's All-Star break. We got the Clippers. We got the Pelicans. We got the Mavericks. We got the Clippers again. We got the Warriors again. We got the Spurs. We got the Rockets. We got the Wizards. Whew. And so right now we are 26 for 30. Out of 56 games, we have lost 30 of them, bitch. I don't have much on this podcast, y'all. I don't have a bro who that. I was out of sync. I was out of touch with y'all for a long time. I apologize. But I'm back and I'm here to stay talking my about these Lakers, man. What we gonna do? I hear it all the time. This ain't just a switch you can turn on, bro. Y'all niggas stink. Y'all sucking up the joint, man. This ain't a switch you can turn on. LeBron can turn it on. Y'all niggas can't turn it on. These other dudes, whew. But ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. My name is Derek James. I'm also on Apple Podcasts now. And I went off video and gone into strictly my voice. And I hope people appreciate it. My name is Derek James. You've been tuned in to the Film Room Podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe on YouTube. And follow me on Apple Podcasts. Y'all have been a beautiful crowd, and I have been a beautiful host. And I'm out this bit.
Vogel's paying attention to Google too much because that's what they said. Once you bench Russ in the fourth quarter, and you actually tried the shit, and it didn't work. It didn't work in your favor. So it's one of those things where you put stop worrying about that's what I said, they worry about the defensive side so much that they don't realize that the offensive side is f***ing you up too. Because if you don't have guys that can create, how is LeBron getting to the basket? It's harder. 37, it's harder for him. If everyone's sagging the lane, how is Russell getting to the basket? So he has to take more jumper. So you're making it hard. You need scoring. It makes it easier. Like, think about the shooters he's had. KD's here. Oh, shit, we can't leave KD? Yeah. We got Bill. Can't leave Bill? Yeah. We got James Harden. So you see what he's needing. So you need players that actually, Horton and Melo with Westbrook, that helps him out a whole lot. You know what I mean? That helps him out a bunch. But you got dead players on the court. You got players who can't put the ball in the basket. So you're playing 3-on-5. You're scoring 104 points. That's your problem. 104 in an era where offense is running down your throat. So they obviously, you see, it's the Pacers. They don't give a shit about defending you. You're defending yourself because you got two players who's not going to shoot the ball. You're defending yourself. Shit. I'm not adjusting to your lineup. I'm just going to put out whoever I want, and we're just going to try to outscore you. That's what it is. We're going to just outscore you guys.